Do you guys play Says the Lord by the Belonging Co? I just played it at church like a week and a half ago. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of these songs from today were doing I'm basically just making tutorials and playthroughs because I recently just played them. Yeah. So that one's a cool one. Says the Lord. It was actually it was like, they call it encounter nights. It's kind of like worship night. They do it. My church does it like once a month. So sometimes we get songs in there that are new, that are not in the normal church rotation. And so I'm like, I might as well turn it back around and see if I can do some tutorials. Yeah, it's a cool track, especially if you like more of the rock style sound, more distortion, more. This one has like a huge like rock intro, so. I feel like I got to play through this to even out them strings. The Strat is not liking drop D flat right now. So there's really not a lot going on in the choruses besides just fat power chords. I'm at a church in Columbia, Tennessee called Destiny Church. This part's pretty cool. We struggling here. Struggling with this tuning. What up, Steven? I better start this video before my guitar goes out of tune again. This is crazy. It's in drop D flat. So the song we're about to be going over is in drop D flat. And I also have it drop down on the low E string, so it's, yeah. I guess that's what drop D flat means. I just answered my own question. Okay. All right, let's jump into it. All right, we're going to do Please Like Lincoln Brewster. Please don't. Please Like Lincoln Brewster. I don't know what that means. Do you want me to play like Lincoln Brewster or like him as a person? I like him as a person and guitar player. It's funny because somebody said Miraculum. This is actually the Miraculum patch that I'll be using for this song. So when I play this at the worship night, this song Says the Lord, I use the Miraculum patch for it. It's just got that nice, like, martially fat. So that's probably why it sounds fairly similar. All right. I'm going to do my spiel, and then we're going to get into it. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to go over Says the Lord by The Belonging Co. I almost said Bethel. The Belonging Co. And this song is going to be in drop D flat. I'm playing it in drop D flat. I know for sure the song is tuned down a half step, but I think it's just kind of fun to add that that low D flat. So tuning down the low E string to D flat. And I'm playing in D shapes. Sounds like this. So for the tones that I'm using for this song, I actually just played this for a worship night at my church. And so it's fairly fresh on the mind. And I used the Miraculum patch for this. There's just something super gritty and martially about this whole thing, this whole song and the guitar parts, that my closest thing to this sound is the Miraculum patch. So I'm on snapshot 5. I guess it doesn't really matter. I just turned the distortion up, and then I also, before I forget, for those of you who use these patches, I added the vibrato, a bubble vibrato, because that's part of the intro and the interludes. So that's one thing that is not in the patch. So when I'm talking about patches, I have the Miraculum patch for the Helix, Line 6, Pod Go, and the HX Stomp and the HX Effects. So the Miraculum patch is available for all of those, and those can be found in the description. The only thing that's not exact is that vibrato. So if you get the patch, make sure you add the bubble vibrato. And I'm going to be honest, I added it, and it sounds pretty darn close to the part that they're playing. It's the... Literally didn't even change anything. I just added the bubble vibrato right after the compressor at the beginning. So it sounds pretty good. Let me turn this up here. Okay. So that is the patch. That's the tones. We're in 69 BPM, and I'm using... That's the one thing I did change to on the Miraculum patch. I think I changed it, whatever it was, it's now dotted eighth. And then another thing too is you want to have a lot of reverb for that intro part. So if you want to bump the mix on the reverb just a little bit more, then it'll kind of fill out that sound that it's doing there. So here's what the intro sounds like. Hear that reverb is just filling out that. Yeah. So it's filling out that sound there. That's the first part of the intro. And then if I were to play this live, I would be able to change things with my feet with the toggling the switch. I'm using Helix Native right now. So there's two things happening. There's that first part, but in the middle of that, once the full band kicks in, there's a lead part that sounds like this. And then, so what I'm doing there, what I just did between that, I changed the tones a little bit. I pulled the Super OD is what it's called, the drive. I turned that off, and then I turned the bubble vibrato on, which creates that. It's a little bit cleaner. But you'll be able to toggle that on and off when you have an actual pedal board in front of you. So first I'm going to go over that super overdriven reverby part. So in drop D flat, actually before I get into this, drop D flat is a weird tuning. I understand that, like, if you're going to play this on a worship set, having a guitar in drop D flat for one song is going to be weird. So, and typically, most of the time when I play this, we didn't even play it in the original key. We played it in like C or something. So most likely you're going to be playing this in not the original key. So with that, I have all of the tabs in every single key that you could possibly need in the link in the description. So if you've never joined the Worship Guitar Mastery group, it's free for 7 days. I've got all of my tabs for all of the songs I've ever made in that group that you can come and go and grab whenever you want. So most likely if you play this song, it may not be in the original key, and this may not make sense in the tutorial, so I saved you some of the time. And instead of me recording 12 different tutorials in 12 different keys, I just tabbed everything out, transposed it, made it make sense on the guitar, because sometimes if you play something in a key that's a fifth away, you might be off the fretboard. You might need to play an octave lower. So I figured out all of that, and that is in the link in the description or the link in the bio. It's in the Worship Guitar Mastery group, and you can get in the group for free for 7 days. So if you wanted to, you can join and get these tabs for free. So with that being said, I'm going to go over the intro in the original key in drop D flat. So it's going to be the 2nd fret. I'm going to turn some of the effects down. So, okay. So it's going to be 2nd fret to 4th fret. This is all on the D string. And you're going to push these, and you're using slides, but when you pick, it's pushed. So it's 2nd to 4th, and then it's to the 7th. And then it's the 9th fret, and then the 12th fret. So that's how you get that sliding motion when everything's all on the same string. So, and then the last part, the second half, is just different on that last note. So you're just going to be sliding up to the 16th fret D string. It's quite the jump. But if you have effects and all that stuff, it saves you a little bit of that anxiety of trying to hit that note. So in between that, I'll play the timing of it. It won't be the exact vibrato, the bubble vibrato and stuff like that. But I'll play where that sits in there. So you'll play that one time as is. And then when the full band comes in, you can add notes to it. And that's the bubble vibrato. I think technically the guitar parts are separated in the tracks. So if you have more than one guitar player on your team, which is rare, then you can split the parts and have somebody do the bubble vibrato part, and then you do the super heavy reverby thing. But in my case, I was the only electric guitar player, and that happens a lot of the time. So I have to figure out, how do I get all of these parts and communicate the same song? Because they're cool parts, and it's really cool if you can nail all of them at once. So I'm by myself. So just think when you do the descending lines, you hit that vibrato. So I'm gonna go over the descending notes there. It's super pentatonic sounding. So that first one is the 10th to 12th on the E string and then the B string. Then it's going to be the 9th to the 11th on the G string, and then the 12th on the D string to the 9th fret G string. So I'll play it slow. Again, if you're playing all this by yourself, you got to make sure you jump way down there. So it's quick. So that was the first one, and then I'll go over the second one. It sounds like this. So this is the real pentatonic box. This is the first box you pretty much learn as a guitar player. I'm tuned down to drop D flat, but okay. So you're outlining the top of that pentatonic box. So it's 7 to 10 E string, 7 to 10 B string. Then it's 9 on the G string to the 7 on the B string. And then 9 on the D string, 7 on the G string. So I'll play that slow. So I'll get that in time. My bad. Yeah. It's so weird playing it slower. You guys get the drift. It's in the tabs. Okay. So the next part that I'm going to go over is really what's just happening in the chorus. One thing that I'm going to mention, and you'll hear this in the chorus, is this song has a flat 7 in it. What does that mean? It means that the 7th note is flat. It's a half step off. And one way that you can think about this, if you start to dabble into modes and things like that, you can start to look at it and see, like, this chorus could technically be in Mixolydian. It means the same thing. It means that the 7th note in the scale is flat. So what does that mean in our case? So I'm going to call it like we're in D. We're playing in D shapes. So that first chord is that 1 is your D chord. And this is how I play my D chords. Got this originally from watching a lot of Lincoln Brewster's playing. You can get a nice... So this is a little bit different because we have that low open string, but a lot of times when you have that E string, that low E string, you don't want that to ring out. So typically what he does to make a power chord here is he uses his middle finger to kind of rest on that low string so it doesn't ring out. And this is if you're in standard tuning, but it just has that nice... I'm not even really playing that low E string right now. So if that's what that low E string sounds like. But the other thing you could do too, since we're in drop D, is that you can let that low string open. So that's your 1. Your flat 7 is a C chord. I'm playing it like a C2 or... And then you'll play the 4, which is a G chord, and when you're in drop D, it looks like this. Normally, when you play a G chord in standard, it looks like this. But since we're drop tuned, that note moves up another 2 frets. So you play it this way. So that would be on the low E string on the 5th fret. And then your first finger's on that 3rd fret B string. So it's like this. So it sounds like that. I'm going to retune here. Get some unwanted tension in there. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. We're doing a live tutorial right now. How's your day going? Cool. Okay. Let's see if we're in tune. Okay. So that's the chorus. Next, I'm going to go over, there's 2 bridge parts depending on where you're at in the song. So that first one is, you can play them as 8th notes. That's what I'm hearing in the track. But I think when I play it, I double the notes. So it's... So that's the 11th fret G string, and then it's 10th fret B string, 12th fret B string, and then 10th fret E string. Okay. And then one last thing that I heard towards the end of the song, it's when you go back into the bridge, it's nice and big. You can go way up here, and it sounds like this. Get rid of some effects here. Starting way up on the high E string on the 22nd fret. So it's the 22nd down to the 19th fret. So you'll play the top string first on the B string on the 19th. Then it's 19, 20. 20 to 22. And then it's the B string to the E string on the 22nd fret. All right. That is the tutorial for Says the Lord. Original key is in D flat. And I hope you guys can play it in a different key. Ideally, D standard would be ideal. Then you could just play it and drop D. But thanks for watching this tutorial. Hope this helps. Reminder, the tabs are in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next video. This guy wants me to play Eruption. I can give my best attempt. I can give the best attempt. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm in tuning. Hang on, I'm in drop D. Hang on. an E. So much you could do on a single coil, but yeah. Bro, does no audience work? All right, we are going to do some POV videos, so feel free to hang out, stick around. And we're going to play through all the songs that we just did tutorials for. But I need to really set this up. So give me a second. This GoPro's overheating. For those of you that just watched me, actually no, that was on the last live stream. So those of you that just watched me do the, what is TikTok doing? For those of you that watched me do the Inhabit tutorial, I am going to play that POV video in drop D flat, because the original is technically capoed on the 1 and then playing in C shapes. But since I'm doing a one-time playthrough video, I would prefer to play in the D flat because there's more open strings to play around with. So I think I'm just going to do that. So hopefully that doesn't throw people off who are watching the tutorial, but tell you about the Strat. I am running stock pickups. I know. I'm a crazy person running stock pickups. One of these days I'll get more into custom guitars and all that, but American Strat, yep. It's an American professional Strat. And it's olive green, I believe. Got it back in 2017. It's been a while. Yeah, me and this guitar, we've been all over the place. So, yeah. I need batteries. get this guy connected here. No, that is not what I use to play through. I actually, sometimes I'll play like really small type events. Like if I'm playing acoustic or something, I don't need a ton of effects, but it's kind of nice to have some EQ and a little bit of reverb and compression and stuff. So I'll use it for that. And then also whenever I make patches for the Helix, I like to make a Pod Go version of it, or as best as I can, so it's easy for me to grab that. And I have the Helix and the Pod Go side by side when I make the patches, so that I try to capture as much as I can from the Helix version. So that's why it's over there. But typically I'll play through a Helix 99% of the time. Thanks, Angeli. Appreciate it. Or is it Angeli? It's my bad. Let me make sure this looks good on the GoPro. Okay. Oh no, I have to go back and get my patch back for this song. 1 second. Dang, we got 10 people on TikTok. What up, guys? Thanks for dealing with me. What guitar strings am I using? I'm using the D Addario NYXL, the Nixel strings, and they are, the gauge. The gauge that I'm using is a hybrid, so it's light top, regular bottom. So what that means is the top 3 strings are 9 gauge, and then the bottom 3 strings are 10 gauge. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference on the tone, but I tried it out one time and I liked the kind of the heavierness of the lower strings and the flexibility of the higher strings. So I just kind of stuck with it. I will say I was using Ernie balls. They were the hybrids, the orange ones. It's like all orange packaging. And I switched from that to the D'Addario NYXL Nixels, and they last a lot longer. So, yeah. All right, we are going to make an attempt. Let's see if I can hear this. So you guys on YouTube, unfortunately, you're probably not going to hear much of this. You'll just hear my guitar, but I really just don't want YouTube to take down my YouTube channel anytime soon for copyright. So you'll be able to see for sure what's recorded on this on the Joey Cobra Clips YouTube channel. I'll record the one take of this whole thing, and then I'll upload it. I'll put it with the audio and then chop off the end so you can actually watch it. So I have a ton of those already. For those of you guys like on TikTok right now, if you don't know, I do the whole one take and then put it on YouTube. This is just like the behind the scenes hang time. So, okay. Let's see if I can get through this whole thing. Can you guys hear the dishes in the background? Or is it just me? Okay. I am going to let her know about that. Okay. So let's run this thing and we'll see what we can get out of it. I'm going to mute my mic so that we don't get copyright stuff. Check. Check. I mean, that was a good first take. I'd like to do another one. What do we got? 50% on this GoPro? Yeah, let's run it again. One more time. The name of the song is Says the Lord by The Belonging Co. Do I release my Helix patches? Yes. So if you go to joeycobra.com or you go to worshippatches.com, it's the same website. Whatever one that you can remember. joeycobra.com or worshippatches.com. And you'll see all of them. All right, we're going to do another pass. And we'll see what we can get of it. Here we go. Guys, that is such a long song. Oh my goodness. All right, I think we're good on that one. I'm gonna move on to the next one. I might have to swap the battery out. Oof, this battery is hot. All right, I'm going to stay and drop D flat here. Or not drop D flat, but just half step down. Oof. My bad. Okay, so let me just refresh for a second. So we've got that part. And then we've got the... And we've got the... Do I plan to add more equipment to my headset? I hope not, because it's really heavy. Like, when I take this thing off, I got a giant, almost like a giant hickey right here. That's why I wear this hat. Hopefully guard some of that. So, okay. All right, we've got one more song that I want to do a POV for, and then we are good. So here we go. I'm going to double check my tuning. while all the parts are fresh in my head, I'm going to try to hit this song. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can time this intro up. think that was good. I think that'll work. I need to doctor up some of the tones and stuff. Some of the effects, the wet effects are not lining up where I want them. But cool thing about Helix Native is I can go back and tweak some of the effects and stuff. So sweet. Now I'm gonna mess with these a little bit and we can just hang. For those of you, appreciate you for watching, hanging out on this live stream. I'm gonna look back at some of this and start tweaking it. So, one sec. Seeing double. There's two of me. Yeah. Actually, how do I want to do this? Oh, I know what I need to do. There we go. Oh. I don't know what is happening. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And then I'll give you guys this feed too. What up? TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Are you alive? Are you alive today? Are we awake? Interesting. Okay, so I have some comments on Instagram. I don't know if you guys are still watching. Where is it? I lost it. Where did that comment go? What's the name of the song? Did it get deleted? Where'd it go? Oh. Benjamin has a question. So I play bass for my church. What are some ways that I can step on learning guitar? Well, I'm sure you probably found out that the difference between bass and guitar is thinner strings, shorter neck, and if you're playing a 4-string bass, there's 2 extra strings on the top. So you're at a really good starting point. If you're playing bass, you should know where all the fret notes are, especially on the low E and the A string. So from there, man, I would think about if I was coming at it from a bass player trying to learn guitar, try to learn the bar chords because you know where all the chords are. The root 5 and root 6 chords, all the notes on the E and the A string. Definitely learn all the bar chords. And it really depends on how much you want to learn about the guitar. What are some ways I can step on learning guitar? Learn bar chords for sure. If you're familiar with all the fret numbers and stuff, all the notes on the lower strings, then do bar chords. Lead stuff is a little tricky. You're going to have to start learning more scales and learning all the notes on the fretboard. Whereas I don't know how good of a bass player you are. You might already know all the notes on the E through G string on the bass. So it really depends on where you're at. But definitely just learning the major scale all over the fretboard, especially if you're trying to play for church. Most of your songs are going to be in a major key. I don't know if that gives you any help whatsoever, but so yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna start editing some of this stuff, and unfortunately, the people on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook will probably not hear the actual copywritten song, but you'll hear my guitar parts most likely, so that I don't get flagged for copyright. That wouldn't be fun. So let me know if you can at least hear my guitar. All right. Guitar effects for the Zoom G5N. What up? I don't know. I've never messed with the Zoom G5N. What does that look like? Let me pull it up. Zoom G5. Okay. This kind of reminds me of the pod back in the day. A little bit. I'm just looking at it here. So I'm trying to figure out how many effects you get on your channel. Oops. Guess that doesn't work. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you confirm with that? You get 9 effects on there on your Zoom G5N. Yes, the free patches work for Helix Native. Especially for all this stuff that I do for YouTube, I run everything through Helix Native. But for live use, I'll play through my Helix Floor. But a lot of it starts on Helix Native. So I'll run everything through my speakers or my headphones when I'm back here. I actually play through Helix Native probably more during the week than I do actually playing through the Helix Floor. I only use the Helix Floor for live stuff. Here's what I'm going to do. We'll leave that there. And then that there. Sweet. gonna mute my mic so that you guys don't get the. I'm assuming we're still talking about the. I'm coming through, right? Check. Okay. Still talking about the Zoom G5N. I'm assuming that's similar to like a pod signal chain. So I think you're asking about help me with the guitar effects. Man, I'm trying to think what my best tips would be, not really knowing what the effects are on the amp. But I can give you some general tips that I've seen like a lot of other like mainstream worship guitar players using, like the ones that are on all the albums and things like that. I've seen a lot of, I don't know if you can do an amp blend? A lot of them do a blend between like an AC style amp and a Fender style amp. So that's what I see a lot of the time. That's what you're hearing with this. It kind of creates a papery, sounds like it's a smaller amp and the amp is on fire. Especially if you put some delays before the amps, it'll like really make the sound like almost papery and hot. It sounds weird by itself. But if you go and you listen to the stems of like a lot of Elevation and a lot of Bethel stuff, it's like, it's very high end. So the reason for that is it sits better in the mix. You allow the low end, the bass, and everything to like fill that space. And then you allow the guitar to kind of cut through the top end of the track so that it's not just creating unwanted like mid noise. And so I don't know if that helps you at all, but that's like, it's pretty common to see. You can track back through a lot of the Bethel stuff, a lot of the Elevation stuff. Even if you go back to like Hillsong, the Nigel, I think Nigel uses a wet, dry, wet. I don't know if he still does, but when I was studying a lot of this stuff, it's kind of that warmth of the Vox sound, and then that like real, trying to figure out the wording of the Fender amps, that real like crisp high end of the Fender amp. When it's clean, it sounds super good. So, Okay. So I'm going to jump to the beginning here. I'm going to probably fade that in. What up, everybody? What up, Caleb? Question on Instagram, is it static or distortion? It's a good question. You were talking about in the big part of the... I wonder if is it clipping on your end on Instagram? Because in the big parts, I don't hear static. Obviously, there's with the single coils on the quiet stuff, there can be some static, just like electricity noise and stuff. Sick. I'm gonna flip this. All right. That one felt pretty good to me. I'm going to switch over to the other song. I'm going to bounce this, and then we'll do the other song. Oops. Yeah. All right, let's send that. The song is called Inhabit Guitar Audio Raw. What's up, guys? Thanks for hanging on this live stream, getting a little behind the scenes look at some of this POV GoPro stuff. What up, Honey Emmanuel? Thanks for using the patches. Appreciate it. I better check in on Facebook. I have not been paying attention to anybody, if anybody's even watching on Facebook. Most likely not. Oh, we're good. I think. We might have somebody on Facebook. What up, Facebook? Finally figured out how to route my Ableton audio out of OBS. Took some time and some coffee. Sick. Are you going to start making some more videos? Have you always had Ableton? Or is that a recent thing? Okay, you had it for 6 months. Got it. me just double check. I can't remember if you mentioned when you use it for an amp sim, what plugins are you using? Sick. We'll see what we get out of this one. This is just for a video. I did 2 POV videos today and 2 tutorials for the POV songs. This is, I recently just played this song at church like a week and a half ago. So usually if it's a song that I haven't done a tutorial or playthrough or anything, it's pretty easy for me to, it's best for me to come back and record those videos, like the playthrough videos, because our church has like 3 services. And so I'm already pretty prepared after that point. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't know when the next time I'm going to play this specific song. So it's best to try to capture everything. So the best way I can capture both of these parts with Helix Native is I just play them all the way through, but then I do snapshot or like just adjustments and just create another track. Technically they're 2 guitar parts, but when I play them at church, I usually have to figure out what I'm going to do. So if I had my pedal board in front of me, I would just click on the vibrato just for that little part. But since I'm using the plugin, I have to do it afterwards. I'm using Helix Native. That's the plugin. So I basically just took the Miraculum patch and then I just adjusted it just a tiny bit. Somebody on TikTok asked, have I ever tried African worship? I don't think I have. I need to know who are your recommended artists that I should look into. Because I don't know. It's been on my list to branch out into more gospel, like Spanish gospel worship. They got some heaters over there, just like fun stuff to play. But I haven't messed around with African worship music. I've been doing just a lot of the contemporary stuff, like Elevation, Bethel, Hillsong, Belonging Co. Yeah, I'd love to get more into praise break style stuff. Who are your recommended artists I should check out? Got any go-tos? Is it better to start learning with acoustic or electric? Personally, I learned on electric first. My dad had an acoustic guitar, but I was always drawn to the electric guitar. And personally, I think if you can figure out a lot of the stuff on the electric guitar, like, for example, one of the huge differences between acoustic and electric playing wise is just the amount of muting, string muting that you have to do. Otherwise, it'll just like, sorry, I just read another comment. What I was saying was, if you can figure out how to mute your strings effectively on the electric guitar with like distortions and wet effects and stuff, because if you hit the wrong string or the wrong note with delays and reverbs, like you're gonna hear it for a while. So it trains you to really be conscious of muting strings and things like that. Whereas I've seen people who, for example, a lot of worship leaders who start on acoustic and then they try to play electric, they don't have that thing in the back of their mind that's like always trying to mute strings, and they're used to strumming. And then you play the guitar, they start playing the electric guitar like the acoustic. And especially like, For example, like a chord change, going from one chord to another. Sometimes acoustic players can get away with open strings ringing out in between chords, but on electric you can't really get away with that as easily. And so I would recommend learning electric because it teaches you to control the strings. Every single string that rings out is intentional. Like you try to get to that point. And then when you go back to play acoustic, yeah, there's some rhythmic things that you need to learn about strumming and finger style picking and all of that stuff. But I think that's easier to learn than like once you have all the electric guitar habits built up, you know, all the notes, all the same notes, whatever. Um, yeah. What up, guys? Wow, we have people all over the place. What up, Blake, Dilute Spice? Anyway, I could do a rig rundown on the recommended artist. Check out God, I'm Grateful how you use it because I know you used it last video in stock mode instead of preset mode. Do a rundown on your recommended artist. Oh, you mean like for example, like go down the list of like the Bethel, or not Bethel, but like for example, God, I'm just grateful, like the Elevation actual guitar players, like their rig rundown and how to use it, or just how I use the patches or whatever. But okay. So getting back to the praise break thing, Mark Crowder is a good praise break, but he only has one. His guitar player goes to North Little Rock. North Little Rock has the best stuff like that. UPCI has some groovy stuff. Okay, I'm going to have to look them up. I always want to try to branch out to other things in between album releases, because I know Elevation's dropping an album in like a couple weeks. So it's one of those things where they have to be the biggest worship band right now, the most popular. So it helps to focus on their new music, because a lot of churches, I think a lot of their stuff this year are focused on Easter songs. Like their last one, So Be It, is like, you can kind of tell that that's going to be like one of their like special Easter songs. So I'm curious to know if that's going to be popular. It's got that like harder rock stuff. So if I'm consistent, how long will it take me to learn from scratch and be good enough to play at church? Personally, I think it's easier than you think to play and hang in church. It depends on the type of church. If it's like contemporary, you're doing contemporary music, you can get there a lot quicker now than probably ever. So when I started playing when I was 10, and I grew up in a small church. So I started playing in the youth band when I was 12, and then got bumped up, because it was a small church. I got bumped up to the adult worship when I was 13. So that was like a 3-year, 2.5, 3-year run. Again, like I didn't have a lot of the stuff of like, for example, finding like a good worship patch that I can just load in and just play through, and it sounds like, just that alone is like half of it, having a good sound, especially starting from zero, because you're learning everything about music theory, everything about the guitar itself, and then you're also trying to learn about pedals, effects, and amps and stuff. If you can get a shortcut to that, personally, that's why I like making the patches. I've always been the type of person where I focus on the playing aspect of it. And I would rather focus on that and trying to find your voice as a guitar player. And I think that might be a little bit more old school, like before my time. A lot of those types of guitar players would just plug into an amp, or that somebody would hand them the guitar and it would still sound like them. So I've always been more of a player focused first, and then the gear second. So if you can have the gear that at least gets you to sound good, you have a good guitar and you have good effects and amp sounds, then you can hang in a worship environment as long as you know enough to what you're playing. So for me, like I couldn't load patches. Like I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't even think we had really much of that. The modeler stuff was not really that good. And it was like just starting to come out back then. So yeah, I don't know if that helps at all, but you don't have to for a lot of the contemporary worship stuff, you don't have to learn how to like fly all over the neck and shred and do all this stuff. Now, if you go to like a gospel church, yeah, there's a huge learning curve there, but I would say most churches around me, at least, and at least in the US, it's mostly contemporary, a lot of simple stuff. So that's why I have the tutorials. That's why I have the patches. That's why I make the tabs. It's like, just copy all that, but also see what you can learn from each song. That's how I've always done it. I've always been a song-focused learner and a player-focused, and study different guitar players, study things that are outside of the worship genre that are more difficult. Because if you can aim for something that's even harder than like the sound that you're trying to play, you're going to catch up pretty darn quick. And I think that's what happened to me. I was learning contemporary worship stuff, but I was also learning stuff that was outside the genre that was way more difficult. And I think that's what helped me too. So no offense to contemporary worship music, but like if you're learning single note, couple note lead lines every week, but you want to progress really fast, you're going to have to learn more than that. Even if it's still you want to do it in Christian music, learn gospel. For me, it was like I tried to learn as many Lincoln Brewster solos as I could, just because I loved it. I loved the sound and I loved the challenge. And a lot of those solos took me years to learn. But if you're here to stay with guitar, if you stick with guitar, you'll learn it eventually. But I meant to say, God, I'm grateful preset. You bought the God. I'm trying to see how you felt play your preset the way you built it because of playback video. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting. So the God, I'm just grateful video, I played through it I played through it before the patch was completely finalized, which is why I didn't just like drop the preset on the website as soon as I did it, because I wasn't finished. It wasn't like completely finished and like organized in a way where like you guys could just look at the stop buttons and like know where to go. So I just dove straight into it and then finalized the patch later. But the patch is designed for you to go through each different section of the song. And the thing is, like, there shouldn't be a whole lot in God, I'm Just Grateful that's like changing. So in every patch, I try to include a snapshot mode. Like, for example, I'm trying to think back of that song. Like, the chorus was like, it doesn't have any delays on it because you're just hitting big power chords, and a lot of the chords are like, you're choking them. So I pulled the delays off of there. But as far as like, I'm trying to think back, like as far as like the distortions and all that, there shouldn't be like a huge amount changing. So yeah, that's just that specific patch. So yeah. Couple comments came in. We were talking about the praise break gospel players. You mentioned praise break, Your Honor, Honors Nordstrom, Colton Duty, John David Sandez. It's funny because I have played with Anders before. Small world. I don't know if he's still there anymore, but he used to play at Willow Creek Church in Chicago. It's like a very big, like a mega church in Chicago. And when I was in college, I went to school that was like somewhat near there, and I got involved over there in primarily in the smaller. I'm unmuted, right? Yeah, primarily in the smaller campus. But when I was in college, I was helping out with like the youth worship team. So we would play. Sometimes I would come in on a Sunday and play there. And so I think, there's a couple times where I got to play with him. Like the dude is like stupid good. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I don't know. Does he still post on social media? He always posts his like super gospel. He's like a PRS guy, so it's like he can hit the clean gospel and like the heavy gospel stuff sounds. What playing techniques do you wish were more present in worship music? That's a good question. I don't know. I just think overall, I wish playing more as a guitar player was more common in like mainstream worship. Again, like I don't know if it's a playability thing or they do it on purpose. I know David Hislop can shred, but I'm assuming that a lot of these worship guitar players work for the people that are above them. And so I don't know how much final say he really does have on shredding or not. Some people believe that like even I'm just like not even shredding, just I don't know, more obviously the parts are really cool, but the thing that I like to do, especially for live stuff, is add things in the moment, like off the cuff ad lib stuff. They could be riffs, they could just be like expressions of notes that are just different. I just wish we had more of that, because yeah, I don't know. Because I think that's acceptable more so than just like ripping a guitar solo. I understand why there's not a guitar solo in every worship song. I don't think there should be a guitar solo in every song, but just like more expressiveness, licks, riffs, because I think that's what like one of my soapboxes is like vocalists do it all the time from stage. They ad lib, they riff, they'll add words here and there. They will express themselves, but it's not as common in the guitar space. So I don't know if it's a skill thing or that guitar players are being suppressed by it in the studio or what. I don't know. I understand in the studio you got to have specific parts. Like you have to have specific parts, but it seems like there's not much deviation. Everything is like you play the part, you either fly it somewhere else, and then it's just copy paste. Everything's super rigid, and then it's only the vocalists where they can express themselves, and then it's like a cool expression. But I wish there was more. There was just so much more ad-lib, because the ad-libbing is where kind of your guitar playing identity comes out. It's like, and it's the same thing for vocalists. It's like we can all copy the parts, but I just wish there was more ad-libby type stuff. Which scale do you use most in ad-libs? Mostly the major scale in contemporary worship stuff. Sometimes you can get away with more kind of like blues scale. It really depends on the song. It's kind of rare, these days, at least where in the stuff that I play more like straight up Elevation, Bethel, Belonging Co. The song really has to call for it. Sometimes I'll add there's, for example, this song right here has a flat 7 in it, which is, it's cool. And it has a more rock feel to it. And so the song can sometimes call for more minory, almost like minory blues ad libs. But for the majority of the time, it's just major scale. Dilute Spice from YouTube has a question. On guitar, do you believe you can get a pretty cheap guitar and get high grade pickups to sound like the professional? Or better, or is it better to spend higher price on guitar? I'd like to get your guys' feedback on this for you guitar players watching this, because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really messed much with swapping pickups and trying to piece together guitars. I usually aim for, I don't know, for the Fendery guitars, I try to aim for stuff that's like over 1,000 if I was getting it new, because I believe more so in the entirety of the guitar, because intonation and like tuning and the craftsmanship of like the guitar is like super important to me, because it sucks to have a guitar that goes out of tune, because you can always swap in pickups, and I don't really have a ton of experience swapping in pickups, but the natural like tone and playability of a guitar is like, and the feel of it is more what I care about. Let's say I get a Fender Strat for $500 and put Lambertone pickups in it, or any high quality pickups, so that sound as good as spending $3,000 on a Fender on a higher end guitar. Honestly, like, I definitely would try it if you're good at soldering and swapping pickups in, like a $500 Strat body. But again, you run the risk of like, I know you with Strats you could swap in the neck too, but if you want to mess with it and you feel comfortable messing with it, then go for it. So again, like I come kind of from the world of, for example, like a lot of the guitar players that I look up to, like from the 70s and 80s, are the type of guitar players that are like, they'll pick up a piece of wood with some strings on it and they'll still make it sound like them, even if it's not the best quality wood or the best whatever. Obviously the intonation and everything is key, but for example, like Van Halen, when he got his first guitar, like he would tour around, his first like his like iconic like Frankenstein guitar is like, the wood was like from reject wood, and it's like that would go towards more your point of like they were like scrap wood that had a knot in it that they were gonna throw away, and he's like, I'm gonna take that, that's a perfectly fine Fender body. And so yeah, that would probably go more towards your argument of getting a cheaper body of wood or something and then adding high quality pickups. But again, you have to kind of know what you're doing and what you're looking for. Personally, I've only really messed with a lot of stock stuff. So I think that orange, or not the orange, my orange Telly and my green Fender were kind of, they were around that 1500 mark for a Strat. But it really depends on the brand of guitar that you're getting, too. So it's kind of in the medium range of prices. Question: have you ever used the Veloton GP200? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to look that up. No, I haven't. No, I haven't messed with it. Oh, you know what? I've seen these pedals. Haven't messed with it, though. It looks compact. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like 11 effects you get on that. Bro, there's so many modelers these days. so many modelers. How good is the Pod Go for worship as a startup? I think it's great. After looking at, again, I've never heard the tone that comes out of the GP200. Where is that signal chain? Okay. No, not that one. This one. Based on the signal chain of the GP200, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I think you get more effects on it than the Pod Go. Looks like there's... The Pod Go is kind of limited as far as, like, you can't get rid of the wah pedal. And you can't get rid of the EQ pedal. And, like, it's kind of limited on what you can get rid of and swap out. I don't know what this sounds like, the GP200, but I think you might have more flexibility with swapping effects out, and you might get more. Looks like it's got a looper on there. I haven't messed around with the fractal either, but that's cool that they got plugins. Interesting. I mainly make patches for like the Line 6 stuff, but if they have a plugin, can I make patches off of it for the fractal? That's my question. Would that be a huge miss out for the Pod Go? That's kind of limited, or not really? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you're... What is it called? The GP. I don't think the Valiton, just by looking at it, I don't know what it sounds like, but just by looking at it, it looks like it's about the same, if not more, effects that you get out of it compared to the Pod Go. It looks like you have like a snapshot type feature too, I think. And you get a looper. I don't know, man. I don't know if I would jump over to a Pod Go if you already have one of these. I don't know. Depending on the sound. I only know, like, the most that I have experience with is the Line 6 stuff. So Helix, HX Stomp, Pod Go, HX Effects, and they all share the same effects. It's just how many effects you can have on there at once, pretty much. Okay. If you have neither, I would recommend the Pod Go, but I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, other than the fact that I bought one and I know it better than the Valiton. question from YouTube. Dilute Spice again on YouTube. Has anyone offered to send you a Helix Stadium to try out, get your thoughts on it, and send it back? No. No, nobody has done that yet. I don't know if I'm a big enough creator for Line 6 to care to send me their stuff. I also haven't really done much research into it. I've really just been putting pretty much all of my focus and energy this last year and a half into these videos, the tutorials, and then also building the worship guitar community and really just trying to provide as much value into that. I haven't really ventured off into brand deals or even just trying to work with other companies to send me stuff to just record a video for. I have not messed with that. But if you have any tips on that, I'm open to it. I just haven't really put any energy into working on anything like that. Zephy, what up? What modeler would you recommend for worship guitar? I'm kind of biased. I've never worked with any of these people before, but I started on the Pod X3 Live, and then I went to the Pod HD500X, and then I upgraded to the Helix. So I know the Helix stuff more than anything else. And that has come from a place where they have not had really any other giant name brand like effects modelers. I came from the world of like when they went to Helix, then Kemper came out. It was like those two guys. And now it's just like there's so many of them at this point. So I'm pretty biased to the Line 6 stuff. I haven't messed with the Helix Stadium. But I'm a fan of the Helix. Would I upgrade to the Helix Stadium right now? I don't know. It kind of seems like it's a little overpriced, and I get a lot out of the Helix. Like a lot. There are some things where I'm looking for extra DSP space, like processing, because their pitch stuff, like the polycapo stuff, takes up so much DSPs where you have to kind of finesse it if you want to have 2 amps in the signal chain. So that would be nice to have the Helix Stadium, but I'm pretty biased to Helix stuff. You can pretty much get anything you want sound-wise. And yeah, other than having a real amp. I'm not a analog guy. Is the Ibanez Gem JR ALR for worship? All right for worship. Wow, is it Ibanez Gem Junior? Is that what you're saying? I haven't messed around with Ibanez for worship stuff. Yeah, the Gem Junior. Oh. Yeah, this is the Steve Vai guitars. I knew a guy back in the day. He was he was like kind of in charge of our worship like youth band back in the day. And when I was like in junior high school, he had one of these. I mean, these are sick looking. I mean, he played it, and that was long before I like knew anything hardly about guitar pedals. I was just starting out, but he would get. This was like kind of in the earlier 2000s, so he would get away with a lot more rock sounding tones. So I don't know, but I do have. Come on. The only thing that I have close to what you're describing in Ibanez is this is a Charvel guitar, and it's not quite as metal as what you have because you have a Floyd Rose on yours, and it's not quite as metal. It's got the single coil still in the neck. So this is my best of both worlds of the Super Strat style. It's a little bit heavier rock, like it can cover that with the hot rail in there. But this is just stock. This is a stock Charvel DK Pro Mod 22 frets. So that's the closest reference that I have for you. This does really well, believe it or not, with worship stuff, because I can still get the Stratty style things, and then I can get a little bit heavier humbucker sounding stuff if I want to for the kind of the heavier worship stuff. So I would say that's probably more of the best of both worlds. But again, that one's a little bit more flatter radius. It's more designed to be a little bit more like a rock shreddy guitar, but it's kind of like in between. Between SSS, HSH, or HH pickups, which one would you choose? I think I would do an HSS. I kind of like the humbucker and the bridge, but I also like, there is something that's kind of nice in the single coil bridge pickup that's kind of nice when you have a little bit more twanginess to it. It really depends on the song, but I think if I were to design a custom guitar, it would be single humbucker in the bridge. Ideally with the option to split coil the bridge, but wish you had tips. We had thought of someone who would let you use the helium stadium if they have one. I don't know anybody personally or in my circle that has a Helix Stadium quite yet. Anybody that would be comfortable with asking for them to send it over, because I know it's kind of a big thing right now for them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're almost done with this song. All right, y'all. I think we're done for today. We're about 2 hours into this live stream, and then the other one, I think it was like a half an hour almost, maybe. So I appreciate you guys for hanging with me. And yeah, if you want to see the final product, the stuff that I'm working on here, where I recorded straight to my GoPro and do the POV view, a lot of you guys on TikTok will have seen some of these. If you want to see the final product, where it's not chopped up in clips, you want to see the one take, that is going to be on the YouTube channel. I've got a bunch of those. It's called Joey Cobra Clips on YouTube. And that's where I post the one takes, and then I'll chop them up and then put them on TikTok or whatever. So appreciate you guys for getting a little behind the scenes look at what we've been working on. And we'll see you guys in the next live stream.